What a wonderful way to start. Thank you, Jackie. For more than 2 decades, we at Harbourfront Centre have been trying to turn Joni Mitchell's song upside down and to build paradise and bury a parking lot. So today we have finally done it. For more than 50 years, this very spot has been an asphalt parking lot. I know because I've parked on it for 25 years. It has provided important revenue to keep Harbourfront Centre financially alive, but was an exceedingly unattractive use of prime waterfront land. Once we found the solution to bury the parking lot right underneath our very feet here, we could proceed to create a landscaped paradise on top for the use of the public. I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but first let me introduce the President of the Board of Directors of Harbourfront Centre, Mr. Tenyo Evangelista.
Thanks, Bill. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Harbourfront Centre on this historic day. And a special welcome to Premier Wynne and Minister Chan for joining us. Most people don't realize that Harbourfront Centre is a charitable organization that operates 10 central acres of this waterfront. The organization is responsible for keeping the site open and free, and has done so for the past 40 years for the enjoyment of the public. We are one of Canada's largest cultural institutions, presenting more than 4,000 events each year and attracts over 17 million visits. We rely on the support of all 3 levels of government, the private sector, and individual donors. Today we're here to celebrate the opening of Ontario Square, a momentous step in the history of Harbourfront Centre and the Harbourfront Centre site. The creation of this spectacular square would not have been possible without the significant support of the Government of Ontario, which contributed a cultural capital grant of $10 million, which we really appreciate. Bravo. We're extremely pleased that both Premier Wynne and Minister Chan could join us today to officially open Ontario Square. And Premier, Minister, on behalf of Harbourfront Centre, on behalf of everyone here today, on behalf of the 17 million visits we get every year, I just want to say thank you very much. So thanks again to everyone for showing up today, and we look forward to seeing you for the next 40 years on Ontario Square.
Canadian arts and culture are the core mandate of Harbourfront Centre. While we celebrate our 40 years of being the stewards of the heart of the Central Waterfront, we have also championed thousands of artists from across the province, the country, and around the world who have brought vision, inspiration, and millions of people to energize our site. Each year we work with more than 450 different community-based organizations representing every language and cultural background to reflect what our province and our country are truly about. Ontario Square will allow us to expand the involvement of artists and communities in shaping our Central Waterfront, to ensure it beats with a creative heart and soul and is not merely a collection of private buildings and vacant spaces. We have incorporated art into the square itself with a breathtaking 3-story glass artwork, which is right over there, called Light Cascade by renowned architect designer James Carpenter, which refracts natural light down 3 stories into the underground garage and glows like a beacon at night. We've also initiated an arts commissioning program kicked off today with 3 large-scale photographic works by Ontario artist Mark Kasimovic. You can see one of them right over there, the big man looking up into the sky. This will ensure that Ontario Square will always reflect the artistic heart of Harbourfront Centre. We're pleased to welcome today a man who has joined us many times in his official capacity as the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport. Just 10 months ago, he turned the sod to begin the construction on this project, and here we are today, the Honourable Michael Chan.
Thank you very much, Bill, for your very kind introduction. You know, my grandmother is no longer with me, but then I do have the fortune having my traditional grandmother take care of me today. So thank you so very much for your wonderful blessing. Friends, media friends, guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's really a pleasure and privilege to join our Premier Kathleen Wynne today, as together we're introducing an exciting new attraction to our Harbourfront, the Ontario Square. Ontario is a place that is diverse, dynamic. It's a place that is home to creativity and culture. It's a place where the arts truly thrive. Home to incredible, really incredible theater, music, art, film, literature, and dance. Truly, culture is one of Ontario's greatest natural resources, attracting audiences and admirers from within our borders and beyond. We as a government understand their value in supporting our arts and our culture as they enrich our quality of life and strengthen our economy. Each year, people from every country, from every continent, practically from everywhere, come to Ontario to celebrate our unique arts, a sector that generates $23 billion to our economy, supporting more than 300,000 jobs. Today, we are adding another marquee attraction that will keep them coming back time and time again. Our investment of $10 million to create Ontario Square will mean a hub for the community, a meeting place for friends and family, a place where people can be active or simply exercise, a place where audiences can enjoy exciting festivals and events. It is also a place where people can enjoy space and take in the beauty of Toronto's waterfront. Ontario Square can be considered a space builder with 53,000 square feet of new spaces on Toronto's iconic Harbourfront. We are proud to partner with Harbourfront Centre to bring this great new addition. With over 4,000 events each year and every year, Harbourfront Centre promotes our cultural diversity passionately, celebrates art in all its forms, and attracts audiences to enjoy Ontario's unique character, culture, and diversity, placing us on the web as a premier travel destination, the most diverse cultural capital, not just in Canada, but in the world. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
As Tenyo mentioned, the creation of Ontario Square is really an historic step forward for Harbourfront Centre. This central square, where millions will gather for decades to come, is at the geographic center of the Harbourfront Centre campus. It will become a waterfront landmark and a symbol of the overall commitment of the province of Ontario to the revitalization of Toronto's waterfront, and also of its incredible support of Ontario's vital arts and culture sector. About 3 years ago, we despaired, and believe you me, we really despaired, that we could never realize our dream for this square and the completion of the core of our site. To our joy and our delight, the province of Ontario stepped up and literally saved our dream. We are extremely appreciative that Ontario decided to support our vision for the vast public who come here to enjoy it. We are very honored to welcome back to Harbourfront Centre our Premier, the Honourable Kathleen Wynne.
Well, thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. And hello, Ani, bonjour, wache. It's wonderful to be here, and I just want to reinforce what our traditional teacher said, that we're gathering on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit, and I think that is particularly important as we celebrate here by the water that has given this city life for so long. I want to begin by looking out into this crowd and thanking all of the people here, because I know there are planners here, there are fundraisers here, there are visionaries here. I want to thank you for 20 years ago, 30 years ago, thinking about what our waterfront was going to look like. Because if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't be standing here. I've spent the morning, I've been able to walk from the other side of the, where the Pan Am Village is going to be, all along the waterfront, and I'm seeing where the parks are coming up with the Cherry Beach. All of that it is coming together. It is changing. We are seeing the fruits of the labor and the imagination of the people who are real city builders. And so I want to, you're all out there, and I want to thank you for the work that you've done, because we are, you know, I'm the lucky premier who gets to stand here to open Ontario Square, but the people who have worked here at the heart of Toronto's waterfront, at the Harbourfront Centre, and all along the waterfront, really, we owe you a huge debt of gratitude, and I know there's a lot more to be done, but thank you very much, merci. That's not to say there's not more to be done, but you know, one of the great things about the Pan Am Games, I'm thrilled about the Pan Am Games. I think it's going to be a fantastic party for Toronto, but one of the great things about it is it sets a really clear deadline on some of the work that needs to be done. So we're working to that deadline, right? Pan Am Games 2015. So nothing like a date to focus the mind. So I want to make a few formal remarks. My understanding is that Ontario Square was inspired by the boreal forest. Is that right? Yeah. And so from Newfoundland to British Columbia, the boreal forest, as you know, is beautiful, it's diverse, and yet it connects us all. And I think that's what's really important about space. And in one of my briefing notes, it said, you know, what happens is staff make up questions that I'm supposed to then come up with answers for. And one of the questions was, why did it cost so much just to build a square? And I think what's important is that we recognize how important connecting space is, and how important it is that we get that right, because connecting space and good space will draw people in. Space that doesn't work won't draw people in, and so people will stay away. And we want people to come together and be connected to each other. So that's what the forest does across this fantastic land, and we have to protect it too. And that's what this square will do. It'll connect us to each other, it'll connect us, friends to neighbors, people from across the country, and I would say Harbourfront's been doing that. That is the essence of what Harbourfront does. When my kids were very little, I would bring them here and they would take part in the arts and crafts, and all of that gives us a sense of community, and that's what city building is about. So it's a forum to showcase homegrown talent. It's a place to bring family and friends. It'll support local shops and restaurants. It'll be a safe place of the kind that Jane Jacobs envisioned in our city, right? With lots of people watching out for each other. And yeah. So the construction of this project has supported businesses from all over the province. All the materials used in this square, from the soil to the stone, came from right here in Ontario. So this is it's like a grown locally in Ontario Square. Good things are made in Ontario, not just good things grow. We're gonna make a new song. Good things are made in Ontario. So this project, it revitalizes the waterfront, but it's part of revitalizing the economy too, and we have to do more of that. That's the way our waterfront's going to grow. That's the way it is growing, and it's the way the province will prosper. So my vision is that we'll be able to work together towards those collective goals, and we'll have fun as we go, but we'll build community and we will connect people. I think it's already been said, about 17 million people visit Toronto's Harbourfront every year, and a lot more call this neighborhood home. And I see friends in the audience like Nan who live very close by, so this has to be a place where people can live, not just visit. And so that's what this is about too. So we want to make sure that Toronto continues to grow its reputation as that great tourist destination, and Minister Chan is on that, but as a vibrant place to live. No matter where you are in the city, that it's a place that you can live. Nous voulons nous assurer que la réputation de Toronto comme remarquable destination touristique et comme milieu de vie dynamique continue de grandir. So that in my mind, is what city building is about. It's about being creative, it's about working together, it's about different orders of government working together and finding ways to, yes, it is. Absolutely. Because we can have that bold, beautiful, sustainable future if we do that. And that means making sure we have the transportation that allows people to get to all of these beautiful places. Yes. And then we know how that's going to be paid for, may I say. But I am thrilled that there is such joy at this waterfront. I have to say, I grew up in Richmond Hill, but I've lived in Toronto most of my adult life. And I think there are some of us who have lived in Toronto who at times, to use Bill's word, have been a little despairing about what the waterfront was going to look like. I think we haven't necessarily believed in our hearts that we were going to get there. But I think today, if you walk along, and I know there's a lot of construction, but that's good. That's a good thing because we're fixing the infrastructure that has to be fixed. And I think we can see now the future. We can see what it's actually going to look like, and this square is part of that. So I want to continue to work with all of you. Michael and I believe that we can bring that vision of a strong community, a strong city that is beautiful, that is sustainable. We can bring that to fruition. We can bring that to reality. And I just want to make sure that if you haven't had a chance to look at the pictures, the photographs on that green over there, they were done in collaboration, the Harbourfront Center and the TRCA. Young people were sent out to take pictures across the region, and they really, of the 9 watersheds, right, the 9 rivers that flow throughout the region, and they are fantastic, and they really bring together this place and the rest of the region and where our water comes from. We are, and I will just end on this, we're in a very precarious time, I would suggest. You know, what's going on in Calgary is not something that we can ignore. And I've been tweeted at, not just about my clothes, but about, that was a joke to Christina Blizzard. I don't know if she's listening, but about what we're doing in Ontario to prepare for extreme weather. And you know, the work that's being done on the other side by the Donlands is work that is beautiful and it's people friendly, but it's also work that recognizes that we could have extreme weather here. And so the berms that are being built and the land that is being built there is being built in such a way that we can deal with that weather. So we have to be prepared, we have to do that. We also have to stop the deterioration of the environment. So we have to do those things at the same time. That's what the public transit is about. So it's a big endeavor that we are embarking on. But part of it is recognizing that people need to understand more about how the city works, how the earth breathes, how the water flows in this region, so that we can build a consensus to make sure that we have that bright future. That's what this is about. Thank you so much. Merci miigwech.
Now you can see why we really wanted the Premier here. The creation of Ontario Square will allow Harbourfront Centre to expand our cultural activities and welcome even more visitors and tourists from around the world. In addition, it will be the hub of our children's educational programs, which service thousands of camp kids and students. The inclusion of 500 quaking aspen trees and ground cover plants from the boreal forest are emblematic of our great province, and you're standing on paving stone patterns that reflect the ice flows in the lake, which are right out to the south of us here. The creation of this great new public square was the work of hundreds of people, as the Premier has mentioned. I need to pay tribute to a very few. The architectural design team, who did a fantastic job, Michael van Valkenburg and Associates, and the endless people who built this, Ellis Dawn, Somerville Construction, the subcontractors and the workers who actually worked daily to make this landmark here on time. A special thanks also to John Campbell, David Kosturin, and Chris Barry of Waterfront Toronto for their work on the Greater York Quay Revitalization Project. And I think most importantly for me, the Chief Operations Officer of Harbourfront Centre, Helder Mello, who has worked night and day on every little detail to get us to this day. So Helder is probably somewhere fixing something. There he is over there. I'd also like to extend thanks to a fantastic woman named Heather Waddell and the team who organized today's opening celebrations. They also kept the rain away. I'd also like to